Every empire that ever existed thought they were different. Every king, every emperor, every leader believed they'd figured out what the others missed. They were all wrong. Because there's a pattern. A cycle that's repeated itself for 5,000 years. And if you understand it, you'll see it everywhere. In ancient Rome. In the pyramids. In the world you're living in right now. This is the story every civilization tells itself. And it always ends the same way. 10,000 years ago, something changed. For hundreds of thousands of years, humans wandered, small groups, always moving, hunting, gathering, surviving. Then they stopped. Not because farming was easier, it wasn't. Early farmers worked harder, ate worse, and died younger than their hunter-gatherer ancestors. They stopped because staying in one place gave them something more valuable than food: control. If you control the land, you control the harvest. If you control the harvest, you control who eats. And if you control who eats, you control people. The first cities weren't built for comfort. They were built for power. Mesopotamia, Egypt, the Indus Valley, China. Civilizations that had never heard of each other all made the same choice at roughly the same time. They traded freedom for security. Wandering for walls. Equality for hierarchy. Because a hierarchy can organize. It can defend. It can build monuments that say, "We are here, we are powerful, and we are not going anywhere." But that trade came with a cost. One that wouldn't show up for generations. Here's what happens next. Every single time. The civilization grows. More food means more people. More people means more workers. More workers means bigger projects. Temples. Armies. Cities that stretch beyond the horizon. At first, it works beautifully. But growth requires resources, and resources require control, so the civilization expands, it conquers neighbors, takes their land, takes their labor, takes their wealth. And here's where the pattern locks in. The people at the top, the ones who organized everything, the ones who control the food and the armies, they start accumulating more than everyone else, way more. In Egypt, the pharaohs built tombs that required 20 years and tens of thousands of workers. In Rome, emperors owned entire provinces as personal property. In every empire, a tiny group at the top controlled almost everything while everyone else fought for scraps. This isn't a flaw in the system, this is the system. Because once you build a hierarchy, the people at the top will always use their position to grab more land, more wealth, more power. It's not greed, it's gravity. The structure itself pulls resources upward, and the gap keeps widening until something breaks. There's a moment every empire reaches, a turning point. It's not a battle, it's not a disaster, it's quieter than that. It's when the system stops working for most people. The Roman Empire didn't fall because of barbarians, not really. It fell because by the time the barbarians arrived, most Romans didn't care anymore. The wealthy had taken so much land that small farmers couldn't compete. They lost their farms and flooded into cities looking for work that didn't exist. The army, once filled with citizen soldiers who fought for their land, became filled with mercenaries who fought for coins. The people who built the empire had been squeezed out of it. And when the crisis came, there was no one left willing to defend it. This same story plays out everywhere: the Mayans, the Khmer Empire, the Ottomans, Ming China. They don't collapse because they're invaded. They collapse because they've already hollowed themselves out from the inside. The center gets richer, the edges get weaker. The military becomes expensive and unreliable. The government raises taxes to pay for it, which makes everyone angrier. Leaders respond with force. Force requires money. Money requires more taxes. It's a spiral. And here's the thing, everyone sees it happening. The writers, the philosophers, the people in the streets. They all say the same thing. We've lost our way, we've become corrupt, we need to go back to the old values. But they never do, because the people with the power to change things are the same people benefiting from them staying exactly as they are. So the empire keeps going, getting weaker, getting more fragile. Until something that would have been survivable a century earlier becomes fatal, a bad harvest, a military defeat, a plague. And everyone acts shocked, like they didn't see it coming. Now here's the uncomfortable part. We live in the most advanced, most connected, most technologically sophisticated civilization in human history. We have access to every piece of knowledge, every lesson, every warning from every empire that came before us. And yet, when you look around, the pattern is still there. Wealth concentrating at the top at levels that would make Roman emperors blush. Essential systems, infrastructure, healthcare, education, crumbling while the people running them profit. Governments spending more on control than on building. The middle class, the people who built the modern world, shrinking, the edges fraying, trust in institutions collapsing. Young people looking at the world they're inheriting and thinking, "This doesn't work for me." The same conversations happening now that happened in Rome, Indiana, Athens, Indiana, every declining empire. We need to restore the old values. We need a strong leader. We need to go back to when things worked. But the pattern doesn't care about speeches, it doesn't care about intentions. It cares about structure, and when a structure is built to concentrate power and resources upward, that's what it will do. Every time, until it can't anymore. Modern civilization has advantages the ancients didn't have: technology, communication, democratic systems designed to correct course. But the pattern has advantages too. It's invisible until it's not. It moves slowly, so each generation thinks things have always been this way. And the people who benefit from it will always fight to keep it going. So here's the question this story leaves you with. Is modern civilization different? Have we actually figured out how to break the cycle? Or are we just another chapter in the same story, telling ourselves we're special while repeating the exact same mistakes? Because every empire thinks it's different. Every generation believes they've learned from the past. And every single one of them was standing exactly where we're standing now, looking at the warning signs, convinced it couldn't happen to them. The pattern has been running for 5,000 years, it's never been broken. Maybe we're the ones who finally do it, or maybe, centuries from now, people will study our ruins and wonder how we didn't see it coming. The pattern doesn't care what you believe, it just keeps repeating, until it doesn't.